Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. I am so grateful to be with you today. We have an amazing show today. We're going to learn about this deep, mysterious, yet most potent teacher to help you to experience this perfect life awakening, the perfect life awakening. What am I talking about, right? So yes, we're going to dive into that. And she's definitely one of those people, the deep knowers, the deep mystic vibe. So yeah, I'm going to be tuning in with her, doing some downloads as part of the Energy Scan show. We're going to learn about our business and everything. But before we do all that, you got to learn more about our work. So we're going to do a little interviewing with her so you can learn about her work and you can learn more about the potency that's available to you by following what she has to share with you through her wisdom and her teachings and the tools that she's going to share with you right on the show to help you to deepen into that amazing, perfect life awakening state, which I'll let her talk about rather than me. So first of all, Royce, I'm just grateful to have you here today. Hello.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful too.
Okay. All right. So let's dive in and share about your background for everybody. Royce Morales is a renowned trailblazer. She's, one of the things that really stood out for me, she says, I've been doing this work for 40 years. She's not
40 plus years. 40 plus years, yeah.
Plus. Okay, we're not playing here. Okay, creator of an innovative, time-tested, spiritually based approach to inner transformation called Perfect Life Awakening. This profound inner work allows for discovering and releasing subconscious origins of self-sabotage to awaken a deserving, authentic, empowered, purpose-driven life. The Perfect Life Awakening courses take place remotely and are presented in small groups to provide individual attention. Royce offers private inner discovery sessions, spiritual cognition integration to facilitate deeper work. Royce is the author of 3 books about her teachings, all available on Amazon, and is working on a series for middle grade readers. She also posts information about her teachings on YouTube and does a weekly Love is Real moments, sharing her spiritual wisdom. On her Perfect Life Awakening show, on Om Times Media, Royce goes into depth interviewing others involved in spiritual and personal development, as well as various metaphysical experts. So all things deep and amazing, right?
Thank you.
All right, Royce. So we have to start with that topic then about the perfect life awakening, and what I'm calling the perfect life awakening. So what is that really all about? What do you mean by that?
Wow. It's always hard to answer that. I find that most of us are kind of walking around not really feeling as though our life is important or meaningful. We buy into all of this, the fears and the negative programming that we take on in life. We all have specific purposes in being here that we brought with us from all kinds of past lives. And because we have all this stuff in the way, the fears and the deservingness issues and the doubts and the hopelessness and all of that, we can't manifest that purpose. Everything is in the way of that. So the classes and the individual work that I do are really about getting to the origins of all of that stuff that's blocking us having a perfect life. And perfect doesn't necessarily mean, angel wings and and living in a mansion. It means whatever it means to you. I mean, to me, it means having students that get this information and writing my books and, learning to love people on a deeper level. To somebody else, it could mean something completely different. But I do find that there's some really common needs that we all have as beings, especially feeling as though our life is meaningful and that what we're doing here is what we're meant to do. So that's really what I mean by perfect life awakening, because a lot of us are just kind of walking around numb and asleep and unconscious and, all that stuff that's in the way all the time. So it really, I find that when people do this work, they really experience some sort of spiritual awakening in their life so that they can discover who they really are and live that perfect life.
So how does one get the clarity on what's their perfect life? Because somebody might say, I just want, I hear different things from people all the time, right? Even people that are more on their path. Well, I just really want this right now. I just want some passive income, get kind of tired, just want to make some money.
Yeah.
Or you have someone even say, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna manifest this even bigger things, like
Yeah.
I want to have 1 million students and I want this and I want that, and we don't even know where all, and yet that could be driven by, as you're pointing into with what you said, like it'd be from your wounding and like, I'm never good enough, I better be 100 will never be enough, I better go to 1 million, and if it's 1 million's not enough, then 10 million, maybe that'll be good enough. And well, there's all these different drivers people have, and a lot of times people need ongoing awakening to see what the real truth is. Like they don't know, like, oh, I think I want to be on these big stages, and then next thing you know, it's something else. Like, no, 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 I need to write a best-selling book first. I think that's what's my perfect thing right now. Or what, like there's
Right.
this constant like not realizing your truth, and they have to constantly be awakened to what is the truth. So how do you approach, that's a big topic I just gave you, but how do you approach that with people? How do you
That,
start
that,
navigating like what is their thing to do in the world, first of all, and then the
yeah.
constant awakening to their truth?
I hate to say it like this, but I find that I don't really attract students that are in that mindset.
Mhm.
Usually people that come to my classes are already realizing that maybe there's more to life than having the $1 million and the million whatevers. But if somebody does come to my classes like that, pretty shortly they discover that maybe that's not the truth for them. Doing the inner work exposes a lot of stuff that people are not conscious of, and they might discover that, oh, I've been doing that because I need my parents' approval, or gee, I've been trying to get that because I don't feel good inside and I'm trying to cover it all up. So a lot of the masks and a lot of the untruths about ourselves get exposed in what we do here. So, that's, like I said, that stuff starts to go away pretty quickly. Or they might discover that maybe their purpose is to have $1 million and 1 million students, or, so, they just find the truth about that. I mean, all these shadows are over here.
No, that's okay. She's talking shadows. Are some people on audio are thinking, yeah, we've got all these shadows to deal with, right?
Shadows on my face. The
Right.
sun is coming
Yeah.
up here. It's pretty early over here in California.
Yeah, mysterious. I like that. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Well, yeah. So okay, I get it. Like these people are awakening. They realize it's not about like this material life necessarily. If anything, that's added on to you, sort of thing, right? Like, but it's not. That's not the thing, so to speak. But it's this deeper spiritual awakening and connection is what they're seeking. That there's more to life in that direction. Is that what you're pointing to?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it starts to feel real empty. I know when I started my spiritual journey, I had so many superficial reasons for it. And after a while, when I attained those goals, I realized, ooh, this isn't it. It's not about having that new car or whatever it was in those days. It's really about something much deeper than that. And I started to awaken to that, and the other stuff just went by the wayside. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about that. So, seeing as you've been doing this work for so long, like you must have woke up pretty quick. What were you
Yeah, it took
doing
me a
when
while.
it took you a while? But okay, so what was, did you have like a lot of people say I was in corporate or whatever, I was grinding in this business sort of thing. What was your scene? Like what drove you earlier in your life? Did the car, sounds like you said the car or whatever, like what things were driving you before you had your own like perfect life awakening?
Well, it actually started pretty young for me. I always tell people that I started my inner journey at the age of 4. Really did. Excuse me. I was standing there washing my mom's window in the front living room. And all of a sudden, it was like something hit me on the head. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to die someday. And that reality at the age of 4 was pretty profound. And I came running into the kitchen in tears. And I said, Mom, I'm going to die someday. And I started asking her all these questions. And she was like, who the hell is this 4-year-old? And she gave me her little, very superficial answers. And I stood there and I said, oh, this isn't, no, there's more to it than this, you know? And from that point on, I started my spiritual quest. However, I reached a certain point in my life where I was so frustrated with all of it because I couldn't find those answers that I just said, forget it. I'm just going to marry a nice Jewish guy, have a kid, buy a house, have a nice car, and just forget all this other stuff, which I tried to do for 7 years. And all of my motives were acquiring, getting money, getting fame, not fame, getting, stability, security, all of that. And I had another awakening after 7 years of marriage to a nice Jewish guy. And I woke up one day and said, wait a minute, this isn't what it's about for me. And shortly thereafter, we got divorced. And then from that point on, it's just been the universe just handing me certain things and going, here's your purpose, wake up, start doing what you're supposed to do here. And I had all kinds of amazing so-called coincidences happen in my life that led me down the path that I've been on for 40 plus years, which is teaching. So that's my story.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today. Right. Now I'm imagining with this awakening process, it is a process, right? It's not like, well, I'm awakened. I know my perfect life. We're done. Or just live it out now. We're all good. Right? Like it's like you get awoken, and so what is that like? This experience is different for everybody, but what is like the typical path? Like people first they realize, man, what I've been focused on is not really fulfilling me. It's not really the deeper thing I'm looking for. I need to wake up spiritually. Okay. All right. We need to deal with like your traumas, your deeper beliefs that are keeping you stuck, spiritually and in terms of what you want in your life. Right. So we're roto-rooting maybe some of that, or however you look at it, right? So that's the process, and then that opens them up naturally to attune to what they truly want. Is that sort of the path, or what? How is that?
Well, I think it's really different for everyone. I've had students that went to one class, had an awakening, and never came back. Wow. And I've had students that have been my students for 20 years, 30 years, and they're still struggling to get to that place. Or I shouldn't say struggling. I would say it's just a more gradual thing. It's like exercising, it's like your muscles don't happen immediately. Right. And you may not even notice it when they're there, but all of a sudden you look down and it's like, oh my God, I've got biceps, So it's really different for everyone. But I think what makes my classes different and what I teach different is that it's about experiencing it. It's not about, well, let's talk about spiritual concepts and, oh yes, it's all perfect. And, all those spiritual cliches, shall we say, that people, they're true, but how do you get there? I mean, that's what started my journey. I heard all those spiritual cliches. I did all that spiritual stuff. And I would go home and I'd be yelling at my son, or flipping off people on the freeway. And it's like, wait a minute, something is wrong here. Why can't I hold on to that? And what I realized is that there was all kinds of stuff bubbling up that I was trying to suppress and push down with spiritual concepts. And it doesn't work. It might work for a day. You might feel good for a day. You might have those little sayings on your wall to remind you of all those spiritual things. But to get there permanently, it takes some work. And like I said, it can be very gradual and very subtle. And yet I look back on my life now and I realize, oh my God, that's how I was. And I didn't even realize it until I look back. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but that's what I had to say.
I mean that no, that's helps clarify the type of work you're doing. I love that you say I have students for me 20, 30 years sometimes, and they still feel like they're not quite there yet, so to speak. And I think that's so authentic. There's so many people like, yo, you're gonna come to my 6 week course, you're all gonna be awakened or whatever. Like
Right.
they're gonna
Yeah.
be, yeah, you're gonna be one with the one, and everything's gonna be perfect, and you're gonna have millions in the bank, and you're gonna be famous and TikTok,
Right.
viral
Right.
moments. Yeah, yeah, whatever.
Yes.
What do you want? We'll give it all to you. Like it all happened in 6 weeks, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like,
I have yet to see that. And it's like I said, it's there's a lot of stuff to dig up. I'm still, after doing my own personal work for over 40 years before I was teaching, I, I still find stuff that just blows me away. That's like, wow, how could I have not seen that about myself? Or how could I have not noticed that issue? Or getting deeper and deeper into the digging work. I call the work finding the origins. I I jokingly tell people when they start my courses, I give them two things. I give them a shovel and a mirror.
mhm.
Those are the only two tools that you need. Digging deep to get to the origins of where the negativity and the fears and the false beliefs began, and taking a really good look at inside in the mirror and seeing what's reflected to you. I talk about that a lot, that everything is a reflection of something going on inside, which nobody ever likes to hear, but it's the truth.
It's
So
really
yeah.
all about like clearing the stuff. Like it's digging in deeper where you may not even ever notice it. And
Yeah.
it's looking like, okay, like a bomb just showed up in my room, rather than feeling like a victim. Why have I pulled this into my life? What it's trying to tell me, right?
Yes,
All
exactly.
those type of things. And the mirror, yeah, the mirror, like this, something's going on, and my energy or consciousness has brought this to me, right?
Yes, yes, and that's so true because, we like to be victims. We don't like to take responsibility. Humans in general like to say, oh, this horrible thing happened to me, versus why did I attract this? What is this about for me? What is this awakening in me? And how is this a gift to allow me to grow and awaken? So, yeah.
Yeah, mine likes to complain for sure, and then it likes to say, I'm whatever. It's got all kinds of things we could get into, but it's a fun thing. But yeah, like when I think about what's going on right now, it's funny how people are constantly manifesting their prayers, but then when it doesn't show up the way they expected, then they're complaining about it. And I just
Yes.
noticed that for myself recently, right? Like just a review yesterday, like I got all this great energy and all these great opportunities lining up with my new work I'm doing, and it's amazing. It's just like, yes, it's so beautiful. And then I have situations with family. They're like, they want me more, they need me more, or whatever. And I'm like, but with everything going on, it feels like, wow, there's just too much to deal with, and it's all kind of too much right now. And, so what my mind might come in and say, but then when I think about it, it's exactly what I ordered. It's everything's exactly what I ordered.
Yes.
So why would I complain? If I want to adjust it, I can adjust my order. Like, let's trim the fat on that steak or whatever. Whatever. I can start making some changes right now. But I think a lot of times what we do instead is as they say, like we pitch the tent, we start complaining. Let's see, this is my life. I don't like this life. And like, how you're never gonna awaken like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think your word order is a really important word, because the example I always give, it's kind of like ordering something at a restaurant, and then you get it and you're like, oh, I didn't order this. And you send it back, and it keeps coming until you realize, yeah, I did order this, and why, and what is this about for me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So how I know you have your books and everything, and so in your books, like what are some of your favorite tools, especially like from the books right now? Like and your courses and whatnot, what are some of your favorite tools, like one or two, to help people start having a big shift right away? Like what are some of your favorite ones?
Well, what I talk about in my courses, it's about the inner work. It really is. 99% of it can get, I talk about you've got to dig in, you've got to find the origins. But until people can do that, the informational level, I think, is equally important, such as, like I was saying before, being aware of mirrors,
Mm-hmm.
going through life and having a button pushed or feeling triggered. The biggest tool is to really stop and look within and see what that situation or that person is a mirror of, because it's going to show you. I can't even I can tell you thousands of examples of, people just using that one little tool and having their life shift because they no longer feel like a victim. They no longer feel like, oh, this is horrible, this stuff that's happening to me. No, they're able to say, what is this a mirror of for me? What am I supposed to learn from this? What is the higher consciousness message from this? And once they get in touch with that, the buttony aspect or the triggering feeling goes away instantly. So that's the biggest tool in my toolbox that I teach people. It's a form of mindfulness, of course, but it's really taking it deeper and looking within immediately so that you don't have to take action. I always think in terms of the bigger picture. It's like all the stuff going on in the world. If everybody would just stop and look at mirrors,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't have to have wars,
Yeah.
there would be a whole different attitude about everything. Can you imagine right now if, Israel and Hamas sat down and said, I wonder what you're mirroring to me. Wow, what do we
Right.
need to learn? I always get that image in my head. It just
Right.
is like, and because it's so simple, it's as simple as that, you
Right.
know?
Right. Right. Yeah, it is. I think about that too. I totally.
Yeah.
Wow. If what if we just sat down, broke bread with each other, and figure this thing out?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Unfortunately, it seems like on both sides in that situation, for example, and it reflects in the overall world. Then is like this idea of like, well, we have totally like we're on totally different sides. We literally have been born and bred to say that we should hate you and to wipe you off the earth, maybe even in some cases. And
Mm.
it's like, okay, but why? Why? Well,
Yeah.
this book told me, or these, my dad told
Right.
me, or who knows? But like,
Yeah.
whatever, wherever it comes from, it's like, okay, does that really make sense to you, though? Let's go deeper, like to do those things. But it's, yeah, how many people are willing to do that work in the world? Hopefully more and more, right? I feel
I
like
hope
it's
so.
more, it seems like it's more and more, right? So
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is hope. I mean, because
I
we're in a critical point, right? It's like,
yeah.
and so
I
what we can do is to change, radically shift ourselves
yes.
to contribute. That's all we can do. We can't control
Yeah.
it, right? So
Yeah.
all we can do
Yeah.
is go within and see where the wars are happening inside us, right?
Inside us, exactly. Yeah. And realize that what has that ever done? Has it ever solved anything?
Mm.
No, it hasn't. So, just taking it on a personal level, does screaming at my husband or hitting my child, has that done anything really? No. So yeah, it's the same on a small level as well as a large level. So there's got to be, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize that. I think that the world is shifting into that so that we realize this isn't working. Let's find something that works. Yeah.
I had a beautiful experience with a colleague of mine who I had been doing some posts and promoting something, and she was really into it. She's like, "Oh, this is so good. I want to do something just like this." And I literally told her, I says, "Okay, great, but don't copy exactly what I'm doing." Because I was concerned about that. For some reason, I got that feeling and that idea. And within a couple of weeks, I found like she literally word for word started taking things from my posts and was posting. And I was like, "Hello, I asked you not to do this." What's going And as it turned out, like, because I was open in my heart and I love this person, I listened to what was going on. What happened is she was just going through like an amazing amount of things in her life, unbelievable amount of things. And it was all from what she was dealing with, that she was be so unconscious to do something like that. And so, I mean, for me, I instantly forgave her. I got on a call with her recently after we gave it some time to just sit with it. And then honestly, it was all about like just supporting where she's at. It's like, yeah, okay, you did what you did, but I know where it came from. So like, but I could take it personally. I can't ever trust you again. You're out of my life, and all that stuff. And I think like that's where we miss the deeper opportunity, not just for the relationship or for them, but for us, that we shift through these things and awaken that, okay, where did I steal somebody else's work, maybe in my own way? Where have I done the exact same thing where I went unconscious and did something similar, and helps us to, address those things and heal those things, realize, okay, no shame. Yeah, I've done the same things in my life. I even told her, I says, yeah, I'm sure I've done things like this myself in my own way. And it's kind of like, thank you for helping me review this.
Exactly.
It already happened. What would be going on and on about what happened? It's like it's senseless. It's like, deal with what wants to unfold through it, right?
Yeah. That reminds me of a great story as an example. So interesting what happens from this work. I had a student and he called me up and he wanted to do some inner work because he was experiencing a competitor in his business had stolen everything out of his website, word for word, changed a few words here and there, but word for word, took his idea and was running with it. And it was so upsetting to him because, he had worked so hard on his business. And so we did some inner work. We looked inside and got to some origins of where he had done something similar deep down in some past cavern of past lives. And he resolved all of it, forgave himself. He literally was done with the process, looked on his website, and his website had literally blown up with new clients. And the person that was ripping him off took their website down. I said, oh my gosh, what an amazing indication of how powerful this work is, that everything can just shift from it like that. It just blew my mind. It blew his mind too. So yeah.
Yeah, the inner work can change everything. I mean,
It does. It does.
sometimes it leads to amazing new actions and a bunch of actions. Sometimes it's just like things just shift with maybe no new actions, but the new action was you changed, so everything changed around you, right? That's so
shift happens, that's for
shift
sure.
happens, absolutely. Well, speaking of shifts happens, let's see what shifts we can see for you today, and then we'll come back to talking about your work and what you have to offer. Actually, we'll do that as part of the energy scan show segment. That part of doing this, now that we've gotten to know you and talked about your work. So you have these groups, you have your books, you have all these things. So tell us about your offering. So you've got 3 different books. You can put links below for people. And so yeah, so first of all, what are the names of your books, just so people can know what they are?
Well, I actually have them right here. This one is called Want, which is True Love, Past Lives, and Other Complications. And that's all about understanding what soulmate love really is about. It's my own personal journey into understanding that. And I fictionalized it to protect the innocent. But it goes into understanding how past lives influence our current life and the energy of soulmate connection, what that's really about. And it's just a fascinating read. This one is called No, a spiritual wake-up call. And that one is really focused on my teachings. It's kind of a step-by-step where I give a lot of stories and a lot of examples, a lot of personal, I don't want to call it homework, but little exercises that you can do after each chapter to really help understand and make real the concepts. So that's really good. And that took me years to write because I kept saying, oh, I don't know. I'm so used to doing these small groups and, where I'm there and I'm supervising. And if stuff comes up for somebody, I help them to resolve it. So putting it out there in the world was kind of a little concerning to me. But then I was told spiritually, nope, it's time. You got to get it out there. So I did. I listened.
Okay.
And then the last one is called Back, Rebirth After Stroke. And that's about my husband who experienced a massive stroke about 9 years ago. And it was quite an experience spiritually for me as a spiritual teacher to go through that and apply my own teachings to a very trying experience. So it's kind of, each chapter talks about a little thing that I experienced and what I learned from it. So there's a lot of spiritual information in that. And it's written with humor and candor. And I recommend it for anybody that's going through any kind of a life challenge. It doesn't have to be a stroke. But so those are my books, and they're all, I write how I talk, so they're very easily understood. They're very simple, very conversational, and yeah, a lot of value.
Great. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm totally spiritually awake, and then our husband has a stroke or something. I mean, like, okay, let's see how awake you are now. Right? There's always
Next
something
level.
like things like that creeps in the minute. Even there's a little spiritual ego going on, with it, maybe even too, right? Like, oh, I'm totally aligned now, and okay, how about this?
Right, here you go, your next challenge, next level. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I was very open about it. I didn't pull any punches. So yeah.
Cool. I mean, and that's so helpful that people are dealing with things like that. So that's really cool. And you got all your principles in your notebook, and the one book just sounds like a fun read. And like looking at those past lives, like, why do I have these crazy relationships with people? Well, your book helps people start to see that through the story that you're telling. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your how you help people, because I said, like, what are you all about before the show? What's your intention for the show? I want more people in my classes. So let's talk about your classes. What kind of classes do you have exactly? What are these classes?
Well, they used to be done in person with small groups, and now everything is remote, so I'm doing them remotely, still keeping it relatively small. I would say 10 maximum. And each week, it's a 10-week course, and I'm calling it Transform Self-Sabotage, because that's really what it's about. We have so many things that have sabotaged us, and it gets to the root, the origins of our self-sabotage. They're about 45 minutes of information, and then we do some inner work and have an opportunity to share if you want to. You don't have to. And some homework, some real world experiential work that I give people each week. And they're very, very powerful and very empowering. And I would love to have people sign up.
Mm-hmm. And so this class, so you're transforming self-sabotage, is that the name of it, or what's the name of it again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Transform self-sabotage.
Okay. All right. And so as part of the tuning in, energy scanning, business coaching, I'm just curious, so you have up to 10 maximum, and what's the investment for the course?
I've been trying to keep it very reasonable. There's my dog, people, a truck from my house here. Gigi, hey G, Gigi, excuse me.
Okay.
Come here. So, okay, it didn't come on with a little button to pot. I'm keeping it very reasonable. So the 10 weeks are $300, and people can pay weekly or monthly or the whole amount, whatever works for them. I always, try to keep things so that people are, people in financial situations don't hesitate. So yeah, that's what I do. And I also offer individual sessions for people wanting to go deeper and feeling like they want to do that on an individual level with me. So that is also what I offer.
I love the mirror of the dog barking. It's like, you want more people in the course.
Exactly. Yes. Right. Perfect timing.
Yeah. So okay, and then the course is 10 weeks long, you said. Okay. And then the one-to-one sessions, do you have different packages, or how does that work if people want to work with you one-to-one?
I highly recommend that people do my the 10 weeks or course first,
No?
because there's a lot of information that you kind of have to digest before you can get as much value in the private sessions. I've tried doing it with people that haven't done my classes, and it's not as successful, honestly speaking. So, and I do highly recommend not just one session, I highly recommend doing a series, because once you start digging, you know, it's like you take the first shovel and the more gets exposed. So I highly recommend doing at least 6 to 10 sessions. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
Okay. Okay. And do you try, I mean, you don't have to tell me exactly what that would, the investment would be necessarily for today, but is it thousands of dollars? Is it in the low four figures? Is it hundreds of dollars? Or just give us a
Well,
range?
I keep fluctuating on my prices, but as of the moment, it's 150 for a session, and the sessions are about 2 hours long.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. That's good to know. All right. And then beyond that, how do you serve people? Do you have other ways you're serving people, or is that that pretty much like the foundation? And
That's the foundation. I do, like you said in the intro, I have my own show that I do on Times Media every couple of weeks. And that show, I get to interview people that are doing some really interesting work, aligning with some of the stuff that I do, or taking it, you know, further and further different directions. Love doing that show. It's so much fun. And I also do this weekly thing that I call the Love is Real, REEL moment. And I post just like 90 seconds, whatever thought I'm having, and, you know, kind of keep my spiritual teachings in that 90 seconds, which is really fun. I have lots of YouTube videos that go into details about what I teach, various topics. And I'm working on new books. That's what I'm doing.
great. And then you were talking about there's a thought at least of training others in what you do. Where's that
Yes.
whole thing at?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that. Right now I'm working with some people. We're kind of doing that direction because they all want to take it in their own direction. But I've also had intern programs in the past that train people how to teach what I teach, give them hands-on experience of teaching. We create little scenarios that they have to deal with. You know, after 40 years of teaching, I've had all kinds of scenarios. So I take on some, the evil part of me comes out, and I question everything they're saying, and I become a skeptic and
There's a
whatever
scenario
else.
for you. Right.
Yeah, here you go. Deal with the ultimate skeptic, you know. So it's really fun, but they learn a lot, and then they can apply it in their own profession, or I'm looking for people that would like to carry on what I'm doing in their own way. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with that.
And then you're developing it more is what I've been hearing. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so let me do some actual energy scanning into all this and give you some downloads for at least 5 or 10 minutes. And yeah, what guidance I have for you. I'll just go through it and then we can review when I'm done and go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Okay, so just a general read to start with. I just see you like in a an easy like a nice big chair that's comfortable, and you're just going like through magazines and books or something, and it's like this enjoyment of just on one level, just at times just kind of relaxing, but being very active with like looking through all this stuff and working. And also I get like working on your own energy, working on other people's energy. So just the enjoyment of it, just like, oh, this is so satisfying. And you physically do like to stay active. I don't know if it's gardening or something, but I just get this staying busy, keeping your body moving. It seems to be important. Like, and if if that falls off, then yeah, I could see some maybe some issues with that. So you got to keep that going. Okay, hold on. So there's just my initial tuning in. Let's see. Okay. So definitely, because I'm asking about what you charge, and I'm sure you've had a lot of people in this amount of time say, "Hey, maybe you should charge more," right? So it's a very old idea, I'm sure by now. I am getting that there is an opportunity for that would serve you and everyone. Um, so like the idea, often the simple idea, and this is good for all the audience to hear. By the way, guys, you should really tune into all this stuff because I'm giving guidance for her, but it also can apply for you. Like the general rule of thumb, and I sort of feel this for you, is of, is it possible for me to double my rate, for especially to the one-to-one is where I'm guided right now. Is it possible for me to do that? And then to look at your concerns and fears, like, oh, some people will never, oh my God, like people won't pay that. And then just like sideswipe that and just be like, but wait a minute, if I'm listening for it, people could easily pay that. Or what you could do is, something they could get something extra for paying $300 or more if you're going to do extra, is part of their one-to-one experience with you. Like what's I don't know if you ever experimented doing like the concentrated intensives or they call them VIP day type of thing, right? All that sort of thing. And doing something that's like, so you could have maybe two tiers is what keeps coming to me. Like one's more this is more affordable. For if you want to keep that. And then you could have like, oh, this is like more of a premium tier for people that really want this level of service. And then in your mind, I wouldn't say it to them necessarily, but those that can afford it, and really want to go deeper. So yeah, so I could see you having like two tiers. Let's see what I'm getting on the with the training. We'll come back to all this later, like I said. It's like, it feels like, I think you do a lot more, well, by now, but there's a lot with psychic development. I'm feeling like you have, maybe it's like it's separate class, like an entry point. So I feel like you're doing a lot of deeper tuning in and using your psychic gifts. And I don't know how much of that you're fully training these interns on yet. I'm sure you touch upon such things for sure, but I just get this like there's a deeper you can go with sharing about that, and maybe in teaching it, you'll go deeper yourself and your gifts there. So I hear it just comes through that way as psychic development. So there may be like a course for that, and then you could teach also your interns around that. Let me tune into the training of others again more. I got the word masses came in, but I think what it feels like is that this is how they say reach the masses sometimes. I think you reach the masses increasingly through your student base that actually gets trained. I mean, the potential is there for you to have like a training guide, for your students, in that there it could even be there could be even like versions of people putting circles together to do some of this work, that you have a training guide for them to put their own circles together without even doing direct training with you, pieces of it. So just again, feeling I'm getting, it may or may not be actualized in the physical, but I'm just telling you what I'm getting. And then what else is going on? Yeah, I'm getting the number. Yeah, and then I got this number for you earlier. I'm getting it again. 10 seems to be a number that keeps coming up. I'm getting maybe there's like 10 main students you're going to teach like in depth, and that are really going to going to help really move the work forward. Yeah, definitely with the training of others. Yeah, definitely whatever you're charging, definitely in the thousands of dollars. category there. So, okay. Let me see on your main programs. With the self-sabotage, clearing up that. Okay. Yeah, that 300 comes back again. And I think that is what you said we charge. Yep.
Mhm.
So yeah, 300 comes back. My question is, wherever it's coming from, is there a way to take that work deeper? Yeah, it's probably through the one-to-one, but that's just a question that came up for me. All right, let me do just a little more tuning into you overall. Let's see, life purpose, doing pretty well there. But yeah, the more books and really helping people get this work out there, because I feel like, I look at more the potential as like more you being spotlighted in media, more you reaching more people with your work. It can all continue to be very affordable, at a premium level. Like I said, train people to go out and do it. All those are ways of expanding. But you could be a teacher in the spotlight in the world. You still, and you are to a degree, but like I feel like there's more that could happen there. And let's see, is there a way for you to help more people with this? So you'll do 10 maximum in your course. Let's see what this. Yeah, I think you're a stickler for like, no, we need to do the deeper work, and so that's cool, but it's also, people could get some deeper work done if you were to have more workbooks or something, like let it come out in that form more. So it's a potential for you. And then, yeah, you could have like, you could have like somebody comes in like for like a big course with you, like all at once, like a weekend or something like that. I don't know if it's just a weekend, but it's like just for a few days or something. Yeah, that feels really good. You don't have to do a lot of them, but I'm just getting like to do some of those. Yeah, that's pretty nifty. Yeah, just a lot more selling the books, opening up for more people to be able to come in and access your works, looking at all the ways that could happen. Some other quick things, I just get like something about reading hands. I don't know if you've ever done that, but I'm seeing something about reading hands. Okay. Yeah, wearing those necklaces seem to be important. I keep seeing necklaces. So there's something about that. Protection with that or something. Yeah. Knowing you're protected. Yeah, there's some level of protection that is continuing to want to be anchored in you to go bigger, or expanded. Yeah, I just keep hearing like when I listen to your brain's like, I've got so much to share. Um, so just keep writing it, and then find a way to share with the world. There's so many ways to share content now. Like maybe you could do more articles or something like that. Get articles out there or something. Like just keep sharing. Just keep sharing. I just right here, just keep sharing. Feel free to share more. Might feel like a lot to do, but feels important, like to keep sharing. There's a lot more we could get into, but for the scope of the show, I'm just going to stop there. Yeah, so we can talk about what came through. So yeah, quick comments, reflections on what came through.
I do a lot of articles. Thank you.
Oh, good.
And yeah, sometimes I think, why am I writing an article? Is anybody reading this? Yeah, but yes, it's important. And I used to do retreats, weekend retreats and week-long retreats repeatedly, several times during the year. But since my husband's stroke, I'm not really able to do that, but I might figure out a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what you said about the psychic development is really important. That's actually been the start of my spiritual awakening, was developing that part of myself, channeling. And yeah, and I don't emphasize that enough. I do, but obviously not enough. So I appreciate that input. Yeah.
Good, good, good. How do you like are you open to the idea of having a premium level of one-to-one with you?
It's a great idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
Yes, I know everybody tells me I don't charge enough, but I attract people that can't pay real well.
Yeah.
And I understand that that's part of me cleaning up some money karma in this
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't do this for the money.
Right.
So yeah, but that's a great idea. Yeah.
Because I think that you have a wealth vibe within you, as we say a lot, but it is true with you. You've been wealthy in past lives, and reclaiming some of that by having more premium offers, I think would be really good. Because I think you want to be attracting some more of those type of people as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, cool. As part of your mirroring, right? Like,
Yes.
so, okay, well, let's leave it there because I do want people to learn more about you. But folks, just real quick, if you want me to tune into your business, if you want me to give you a consultation, just go to my website, yoursacredpurpose.com. There's a Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan consultation available to you, where I go much more in depth than what we did here. This was just a short while, where I just start giving to you guys. I don't, now after we're done with the consultation, I always open to the idea of working with people, but quite frankly, I work with very few people on a one-to-one basis ongoing, because because I'm only I can only dedicate myself to so many people on that level. But if you want the initial reading and get that value, you have the ability to do that. Just go to yoursacredpurpose.com for that Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan consultation. All right, so let's shift to people learning more about your amazing course, Transform Self-Sabotage. Yeah, so that's your foundational course. Could you tell them more about the power of that? For me, I'll just say this and then I'll add in later. Like, self-sabotage is like basically the number one thing that keeps you from your perfect life
Yes.
awakening, right? Because
Yes.
honestly, we pretty much, when we're honest with ourselves, that we often do know what the truth is. We often do know like what's best for us, and yet we just go ahead and choose something else anyway. Well,
Yes. All the
I
time.
probably ought to do that, and that'd probably be for my highest, but oh yeah, let's not do that then. Like,
Right. Right. Yes.
so we
All the
constantly
time.
are just self-sabotaging it. So tell them more about, again, you talked about it a bit earlier, but how do you help them with that course?
Well, it's all about getting to the origins, digging up all the stuff that's getting in the way subconsciously, and then shifting into a spiritual understanding of why that's going on. That's what makes my work very different than, traditional therapy or anything like that. Because people have said to me, "Oh, you're a therapist?" No, I'm a spiritual transformationalist because, I teach people how to get down to the roots and transform those roots into seeing the spiritual meaning behind them, so that they can take action. It's not just about, gazing at one's navel or reciting pretty affirmations. It's none of that. It's really about getting to the origins and pulling them up and resolving them so that you can feel empowered and stop self-sabotaging.
Yeah, people, again, it's patterns run in our life, and one of them is even just a pattern of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Let me just keep throwing this thing off so I can keep saying my life the way it is.
Right.
And
Exactly.
say I want better and I want to go deeper and everything, but continue to run these programs. It reminds me of a student who would come to my silent meditation retreats, and I tell him, here's all the rules, here's everything you're supposed to do. And as soon as she could, she would try to break one of the rules. like Okay, now that I know all the rules, I now I'm gonna try to break them. And what she didn't realize fully, or maybe she did and just did not, whatever, is like, well, yeah, the minute you want to break those rules, you're sabotaging the whole purpose of what we're doing here, because that's why the rules exist, is so you're not self-sabotaging yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
But my point is, like, those are very persistent patterns for some people. So if you're directly dealing with those, for especially people like, I've done a lot of work and nothing works, and it's probably a self-sabotage. You're telling yourself a story, nothing works, I don't know. And right, I don't know how many of your students say that. Right, probably quite a few. It's like, just, it's probably just self-sabotage. And I imagine, like, I mean, like, do you not see, like, either momentum or people completely dissolving the self-sabotage pattern, often, at least in your course?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, one of the things I tell people is it's hard to do something when you're aware. It's hard to be mindless when you are aware. So things shift just with awareness. Things that I used to be able to do, I just can't do them anymore because I can see it. I can see that it's self-sabotage, or I can see that it's coming from fear. So it's much easier to just stop that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a conscious, like, efforting choice anymore, because it's just
Yeah.
like, I just want the choice I make all the time now. It's my new pattern anyway. Like, I just
Right.
want to go with this
Yeah.
idea now, or this choice. And
Yeah.
I want to choose to have people that are kind to me in my life. I want to choose to, eat better or whatever, if that's one of your things. Or I want to choose to take new steps to have the kind of life that I want overall. To work the hours I want to work, or whatever it is. I mean, whatever it is, to do the things you love, right? To stop saying, well, I don't have time for that either. And I don't have, whatever. But to see, like, how you could have that, like, to open yourself to, if I wasn't sabotaging myself, it's a possible all those things would come into my life perfectly, right? Perfect life
Yes.
awakening. And then the
Absolutely.
answer is going to be yes. And then
Yeah.
I think it almost scares people, like, oh my God, I could really have everything I want, kind of, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could. And it could be that simple. Are you willing to let it be that simple? Well, maybe yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, right. I mean,
Yeah.
because isn't that it? It's like, in a way, like, once you actually awaken to what's really going on, man, it can become easy to have the life that you want for a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
talk about that a lot in terms of you can have everything you want, and
Mhm.
how that brings up tremendous fear in us because a deeper part of us doesn't feel deserving. So
Yeah.
if I were to get all that stuff, that would mean I'm deserving, and I can't allow that in my life. So that's one of the main core teachings that I start hitting people over the head with a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deserving. Yeah, I hear that all the time too, right?
Yeah.
Um, are people going to like me? Do I deserve this? All those sorts of things. And
Yeah.
like, so the pattern of, like, feeling like you don't deserve it, well, Royce is going to help move you right through that, through the
Yes.
course. And,
Definitely. Yeah.
and
Big shovel.
right.
Big shovel, big mirror.
Yeah. Do the deeper work, deepen your awakening, and have more of the life you want. So
Yes.
how do people take advantage of that? We can put the link into the show notes and everything, but tell people more about how to take advantage of that.
Just go to my website. There's all kinds of clicks that you can do to get in touch with me. And the website is roycemorales.com or perfectlifeawakening.com. And that's how to reach me. And we can get going with your perfect life awakening.
Yeah. Because even the people, like, I just want to say this for people, maybe this is in the back of their mind now, but, like, for people, like, they've been students a long time, it's not like they have the same life. They are perpetually gaining new breakthroughs. Maybe there's
Yes.
other things that happen along. I get it, but, like, they're realizing something deeper. They are seeing momentum. They are seeing they wouldn't keep coming back, right? So then you have
Right.
other people do one course, so, like, my whole life's transformed, right? So it's a whole range of what each person's path is, whatever it is. guys, get what you need is what my thought is, right?
Yeah. And I find that there are different stages of life. I've had people stop taking my classes and then come back 10 years later and start, at a whole different level, or a whole different issue is arising for them. So there's that aspect too.
Yeah. Great. It works. Life is ongoing. So we might come back again 20 years later or whatever, because we may need something might have happened, like something happened with you with your husband, like something comes up and it's like, holy cow, like what do I do now? And to work through that. So okay, great. So we'll put the link into the show notes and take advantage of that. And guys, it's we've got to quit self-sabotaging ourselves. People talk about the planet and everything, and isn't that self-sabotage too, right? Let's do things that pollute the planet and all this stuff. We're just ultimately self-sabotaging. So when you see those things, the injustices that you sense in the world, you say, oh, that's injustice. Okay, then how are you doing it to yourself? And let's take care of that, because that we can deal with that much more directly than anything else. So otherwise you're running a racket. Well, once the world changes, I'll change. I don't think that's the way it's going to happen. And I don't think our listeners think it that way typically either. Okay. So, all right. So one last time, guys, get it while it's fresh on your mind, because your self-saboteur is going to tell you to forget all about it if you don't jump on it now. Go ahead.
Right. Yes.
All right. Yes. And you're going to be working with a soul of the earth soul here in Royce that absolutely has you front, back, center, and side to side and everything, right? She's got you. She's obviously doing this because it's her calling as a soul to do it. First and foremost. So, okay, great. So anywhere else you would like, if people just want to reach out and connect with you or anything else, how did they do that?
Just on my website, Perfect Life Awakening. My books are available on Amazon, and that's the best way to reach me. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, awesome. Well, any last words for people before we wrap up today?
You deserve to discover your perfect life and live it.
I love that. That's much better than you deserve a break today. Commercial. Your perfect life awakening is what you deserve, not a happy meal.
Yeah, really. The happy life.
I'm happy. I gotta have this meal. Right? Yeah, not really, right?
Right. Happy life, happy meal. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so so grateful to have you on. Appreciate who you are and what you're doing in the world and the power of it. And thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You keep up the good work too.
Thanks. All right, everybody, keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till the next time. Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.